Building a property portfolio takes some skill, some knowledge and great attitude, but it also takes some good financing structures. Most people set up their finances incorrectly. They actually buy a property based on emotion before actually understanding what they can even afford. It's a real challenge in the marketplace. Today, joining me to talk about finance is Miss Naomi Beaumont. She's actually been involved in the finance industry for over a decade. She's built some beautiful portfolios for people. She's a personal friend of mine. Naomi, what's the best place for people starting out? How do they get involved with finance and what should they look for?
I think one of the first things that people need to look for is finding someone that can support them in the process. So a great broker, a great team. Then I would look for is serviceability, making sure they can do what they're trying to achieve. That'd be the first thing I'd be looking at. Then I'd have a look at what they're willing to do to achieve that. So I want to have a look at, if I've got 50,000, what part of that 50,000 do they want to use for investing in property? Then I want to have a look at what they want to leave as buffers. I want to have a look at things like their budgets and things like that. So it's a whole picture I want to see for them to move forward, not just about the loan.
It's a great point. And in fact, most people probably get out there, they bite off a little bit more than they can chew. They buy a property based on emotion, choose something that when it comes to interest rate rises, potentially they're not going to be able to afford. So you probably see some bad strategies over your time. I mean, you've helped thousands of people. What does a sort of a great strategy look like when it comes to property investing?
The first thing I always ask is, what are you trying to achieve? And not a lot of people ask that question, and it's probably the first thing you want to ask, and then the finance and the numbers roll into that. So most people will say, and it's usually 95% of people, they'll say wealth creation. But what is actual wealth creation to them? And what it means to me is I want to wake up on a Friday morning and fly to Paris, and it might mean something different for other people. So that would be the first thing I'd be looking at. Then I want to have a look at what they're trying to achieve from a financial point of view. So usually we want to reduce debt and increase wealth. And what I mean by that is I'll say to someone, so what does it mean to you if your own home was paid out? And most people will say, wow, I've never thought that I could actually pay out my own home and increase wealth at the same time. So they've always thought that it was one or the other, and that their lives were going to be changed for the worse if they did build a big portfolio. And what we want to do is make sure they can still live their lives, enjoy their holidays and their families while they're building a portfolio and reducing debt, because one can help the other, which is awesome.
Powerful point. And in fact, I think it's pretty important to understand that depending on someone's life age or age in their life cycle, what their strategy is going to be. A young person would be clearly different to someone entering their retirement years. And in fact, paying down their home is such an important principle. It's not always buying about more properties, it's sometimes about actually reducing the amount of properties you own. So I guess, what are the common themes that people want to achieve, the people you work with?
Most people want to achieve financial freedom, and that's obviously, as I was saying before, it's lots of different things. One of the biggest things that I see is that they want to achieve a passive income. But what that means is they might have to wait 10 to 15 years to get that. But if they actually reduce their own home, their debt on their own home, that could actually achieve them something much greater, much sooner. So I had some clients the other day that said, gosh, if I had my own home paid out, that gives me an extra $3,000 a month. And I said, well, what would you do with that money? And they said, look, I'm going to be able to travel, I'm going to put it into more property, and it means that my wife can only work part-time now. And for people to be able to achieve that is such a beautiful thing, and we get to be a part of that, which is really lovely. And you know, the wealth creation, the passive income, that can come later on as they move forward, but they got some of their stuff sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, and I think a good finance broker is actually a strategist. They can sit down with you and build something for your future. Naomi, thank you for those great tips and strategies on finance. Thank you for joining us today. Of course, for more tips and strategies, make sure you tune in next week for the next episode of the 6-week Property Transformation. You've just heard from one of our property experts, but it doesn't stop there. Property investing is a journey, and it's always good to take as much information as you can to apply it to the marketplace. Positive Real Estate's been holding information nights for the last 10 years on property investment. I'd encourage you, register your details so we can help you understand what is actually happening out in the marketplace. Spend an hour and a half of your time at one of our free events, register your details, and I hope to catch up with you soon.